Welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic. It's in your safe. Great job, 49ers.
The five best players ever in the NBA, Kobe Bryant is not one of them.
Robert, you can't say anywhere that he doesn't belong in the league.
Give me that amount of money, and I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Josh Allen will never make the playoffs again.
The SEC is straight trash.
This fool was a crumb bum.
Oh, he was in one of those vests? Yeah. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic, episode 119. Guys, we have a special show in store for you. Guys, we are live on YouTube. Are we live on Instagram, Eddie Money?
They did let me this time.
Okay, no worries. But hope everyone's doing well out there. Again, California, we have special guests who I'll introduce right away. But more fires in Castaic. Used to live in Castaic. As you guys can tell, Rafa is on vacation, and he lives out there. So, I checked up on him. He says right now the house is okay, but just wanted to give a little thoughts and prayers, and hopefully everything works out over there. California, man. California. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, hope everything works out over there in Castaic. We have my daughter's in-laws have already been evacuated. I have cousins. It's just a mess. But we're here to entertain. We're here to talk football. We are the gambling show of record. Our only rule is, Eddie Money,
Do not be a loser.
do not be a loser. Play responsibly. Don't be that guy who loses your kids' lunch money. But let's get into it. Executive producer right there in the center, Eddie Money, looking very slick with the curls, very Supermanish, very Clark Kentish over there. How you doing, man?
Good today. Good so far.
All right. And then this is our other nobody, not a nobody. We're so appreciative of a real journalist, of a real member of the media, comes and joins our show. He always brings amazing content and great points, very knowledgeable. Nephew of the great Larry Holmes, world champion boxer. You can see in the background there, has multiple podcasts, athlete to athlete, works for Intermat. Correct, Ryan? What else do you got going on, man?
Those are the only two right now. Those are the only two. There might be something else in the works. Talking to a couple different people this week, but those are the only two right now. The two spots you can see me on camera, athletes to athletes, as well as Intermat, and we got some pretty cool stuff coming for athletes to athletes this year. Just had our yearly meeting, and gonna have some more content, some different things, and then the Intermat Wrestling podcast comes out every week. Today's episode dropped around noon Central Time, so make sure you go check that out on YouTube.
Yes, we're so appreciative of you, Ryan. You just always crush it. And Rafa's not here. I know you love to debate with Rafa, but we'll say that for another time.
I think Rafa actually loves debating with me. I think is what it is. I think the last time I was on, I definitely charmed my way onto the good side for Rafa.
Yes, for sure. Well, I mean, Rafa debates with himself. I mean, he just loves to argue. Doesn't matter with who, what about. It's his thing. He's Cuban, man. It's in the blood. It's in the blood. But other than that, CJ, I think, is in the background. What's up, CJ? How you doing, man? If you guys don't know how we do this, we always start off the show with "You're fired." We always fire someone, hire someone. Guys, get into the group chat. Let us know who you want to hire or fire. Who wants to start off with "You're fired" today? There's CJ. What up, man?
I'll go first. I have a good one. I'm actually gonna start off on a positive note. I'm gonna hire the Intuit Dome. So me and TJ actually went and saw UFC 311 over the weekend. Phenomenal event. If you ever have the chance to go see a UFC event, go. It's great. We went. I think we only missed the first fight, and we saw every single one after that. Didn't miss a second of action. It was great. The dome is amazing. It's super new. technologically and just awesome is dope. It's probably definitely the best arena out right now. And also, it was a great card. Uh, the audience was just so into it for when Yuri came out. Everyone was booing Jamal Hill. Literally, the entire stadium was 1-4 guy and totally against the other. It was great. Great atmosphere there.
That's pretty cool. And unlike, that's Steve Ballmer's place, unlike SoFi, who everyone knows I am not a fan of. And it's, to me, it's just horribly designed. But that place, I also worked on that arena. It is incredible. And I haven't even been, but I've done work.
It's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. The technology and everything. Yeah,
I had a chance to hear Steve Ballmer speak about the arena. Like, this was maybe like a year ago. My old job, we had a conference and he spoke at it after the NBA commissioner. So I was listening to the NBA commissioner talk about the new technology and stuff. And then Ballmer came on and was talking about what the new arena was going to look like and how many bathrooms were in this place. Like, that was the one thing that he could not stop talking about, is how many bathrooms were in the entire arena.
Yeah.
So that was like his big selling point. But it was really cool to hear like what they were doing and how they were making it like a community type of arena with basketball courts outside and just like, making it more of a holistic venue type space. So it's cool to hear that, you guys went, and it all sounds like it was really cool.
When are we going to get the NCAA wrestling championships out here, man? That would be incredible to do it.
We've been pushing to get NCAAs in like a warm place for like forever.
How about Vegas? Something,
It's always so cold every single year. I mean, Kansas City was awesome last year. I'm probably not going this year. I mean, this year's going to be in Philly.
What?
And I don't think it's gonna, I'm not going to, only because I don't think it's going to be, like, I think the wrestling's going to be phenomenal, but I don't think it's going to be a great experience. Like last year in Kansas City, you could walk right out of your hotel, and it was like, for me, it was like a 10-minute walk, and it was like super easy. I mean, you were there. I mean, there was like that beer garden right across the street from the arena. This year, it's going to be in Philly, where there's no hotels that are around the arena. So like, if you're not driving in, or like, there's no like, you have to take the train in to even like get over there. It's the travel experience is going to be horrible. So, I mean, last time it was in Philly, I was there. It was the first NCAAs I've ever gone to, and I was there as a fan, and I was able to stay with friends that were in Philly. So we just drove in, but no, like it's not, I don't think it's going to be a lot. Of fun. I really don't. So I'm probably not going to go this year.
Is that where Anthony Robles won in Philly? Was that 2011? Or is that the?
Yeah, that was 2011.
That's awesome. No, the Power and Lights district in Kansas City was just off the chain. That was incredible. Detroit. I love Detroit. People talk smack about Detroit. I love Detroit. I always tell people, like, that city, that downtown, it was incredible. So that was a great experience.
Yeah, but, Detroit was dope.
Yeah. So we have that going.
If you have any chance to go to Intuit Dome, though, I would highly recommend it.
I know Ballmer also incorporated more concession stands. He wanted people in
They are
seats.
Everywhere.
Yes,
it is crazy.
Bathrooms and concessions. He didn't want people in lines. I mean, obviously he's a brilliant man, right? They thought about details. They thought about, experience. And there's also a lot of, other cool details. Like, I heard there's like, you could interact. There's buttons on every seat and vote for stuff. I don't know.
You can like charge your phone. There's like phone chargers and stuff.
There's a phone charger on your seat. We didn't know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And like, they have an app to where like you scan your face before you get in there. And so you just look at like a little monitor, and then you can open and go to get your concessions. And you just walk right out.
That's crazy. Well, if only Kawhi Leonard would play basketball. I mean, that would be great.
CJ also said he's hiring Yuri for tapping that ass against Jamal Hill.
Why don't people like Jamal Hill? I don't get it.
He just talks so much shit and then never backs it up against like good fighters.
All right. Okay.
Plus, how you gonna talk shit against a guy who shaved his head for his fan that had cancer? And that's why he didn't have any hair, man.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. You want to go, Ryan, or
I'm gonna stick with the Philly wrestling tip and go with, I want to hire the crew that did the movie Unstoppable. I don't know if you've watched Anthony Robles' new movie yet. It's honestly pretty awesome. Only a couple things in there that weren't like historically accurate, but the movie was really good. So on a positive note, I love the movie. I think it was really good. I had a chance to interview Anthony the day the movie premiered. So go check that out too. It's on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, awesome movie. I thought it was great. I think they did a really good job, honestly, with, you know, depicting his life as well as him. And he's in the movie too, which is really cool. So there are certain times where you see that he is doing his own stunts. And then there's actual wrestlers that are in the movie too. So like Jesse Vasquez is in the movie. You see
Nico.
him. Yeah, Nico's in it. So there's a good amount of guys, like actual wrestlers that were in it. Anthony Robles' actual wrestling coach did a lot of the choreography, like the wrestling kind of choreography for those matches too. So they made sure to incorporate a lot of it. Big backing from Ben Affleck. It was actually the same directors that did the movie Air on Michael Jordan.
Really?
That did this movie too. So they were literally, and Anthony talks about in the interview, but he said that they were in the kind of the cutting room and just the editing room, and they were going over what was their next project going to be when the director brought up Unstoppable to Ben Affleck. And then Ben asked for a script, read the script and loved it and kind of fell in love with it. And then that's how everything really took off. So really big deal to have that kind of a crew be on with, you know, Anthony and his family. His family is also in it. So it was just a really big deal, really, really cool. I think it's like the #1 movie on Prime right now as well. So just a really big deal. So pretty awesome movie.
Amazing movie. We just watched it a couple days ago. I want to show, I don't know if you guys could see this, but my favorite part about Anthony Robles, and go ahead, put the camera on. Let me see. I don't know if you guys could see the Raider tat.
Yeah, he's a big Raider. He's a big Raider fan.
Yes, when I saw that, those are my two sons at San Marino, right? Probably got not too long after he won his national championship. But yeah, you know what, Ryan? The whole part, I'm pausing with my wife. I'm like, hey, there's Evan Wick. Hey,
Yeah.
there's Greg. I'm like, we're watching the whole thing. We recognize so many wrestlers, and yeah.
And Johnny DeJulius playing McDonough.
Okay.
Which was really cool. I talked to Johnny. I haven't done an interview, but I talk to Johnny all the time. You know, we'll shoot text here back and forth. And he said it was really crazy because him being an Ohio State guy, every single day he would show up to do his scenes and there'd be more Iowa stuff in his locker. And it was pretty awesome. Johnny has some really cool, like behind the scenes stuff on his Instagram too, of him like doing like voiceover stuff and everything else and talking about the different sequences. And Johnny's been doing, you know, kind of a press tour right now. And Robles obviously did a press tour as well. So they did really cool, and they really incorporated a lot of wrestling into it. I know, you know, the wrestling community doesn't get too much hype, right? With a lot of these movies that have come out. I think Vision Quest was like the last like true good one. We've had a couple of them in there, but like, yeah, it was definitely a good
Foxcatcher. Don't go see Foxcatcher. That'll creep you out. That'll keep you away from wrestling.
It will. It creeps me out to even see people wearing Foxcatcher sweatshirts like that. It's like, I don't understand like how anyone would ever want to do that, but is what it is.
No, but great representation, and you know, Ryan is a huge just conduit and just a shining light for wrestling high school. That's sort of where how I met Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for Flow Wrestling, and you know, my son, and we just ran into each other all the time. But if you haven't seen it yet, incredible movie, well done. J-Lo did a great job, and that's a great hire right there.
Yeah,
you guys,
it was a good casting. Honestly, she kind of looks like his
mom.
Like it's pretty crazy, like how like similar she looks to Anthony's mom.
Yeah, but that's on Prime, I believe, right? On
it's
Amazon
on Prime. It's on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah, go check that out. I hate to bring it back negative, but you know, I don't know if you guys have seen that the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, was just voted on. And Ichiro, who, you know, maybe the greatest hitter that's ever lived, obviously made it as a first ballot. But I don't know if there's ever been a unanimous first ballot. I know it's been very close. Hey, there's Jacob. Say hello, Jacob.
Oh, sorry.
Don't say sorry. Say hello.
Oh, you didn't see me.
Is that wrestling shoes in his hand? What's he about to go do?
Yeah.
He's about to go scrap.
What do you think?
You're putting on wrestling shoes.
Make sure they fit. I wore them like 5 years.
Are you going to Bosco? Oh, he's gonna go roll around at the old stomping ground.
Set up a camera for that. I want
Set
to
up a
see.
camera, yes.
I want to see this.
Hey, what's
He
the
had-
over under on him getting gassed?
Oh well, he's gonna get gassed. The first, so the first 15 minutes of St. John Bosco practice, everyone always get gassed. I've seen Division One. I mean, Ruben makes sure that he's trying to make you throw up in the first 15 minutes. So yeah, but Jacob left-hander had a great cross-face cradle like Ed Ruth, and he's left-handed, so that was his move, man. He cradled a bunch of guys up. But shout out to Jacob, giving back to the youth, man. But back to my firing. I want to fire the coward because the voting for the Hall of Fame of baseball is unanimous. You don't have to put your name out there. And there's one guy who didn't vote Ichiro unanimously first ballot. To me, it's egregious. I mean, I don't know what his reasoning could be. I would love to hear it. But if you put Ichiro's hits from the professional league in Japan and Major League Baseball, he has more hits than Pete Rose. So, I mean, Ichiro's a legend, and congratulations to him. But I'm firing the dude that did not vote for him first ballot. You're fired, man. Show your face. Show your face, big guy. Yeah, so that's my firing. Anyone else out there in YouTube land want to fire anybody? Is that
People
all
that-
we got?
Mariano Rivera is
Yeah.
unanimous.
The only one, right?
Only
Yeah.
unanimous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean-
firing the people that are saying the Dodgers are ruining baseball just because your owners are lazy.
Thank you. Let's roll right into that, Ryan, because obviously you're a Dodger fan. Obviously, I got more
Championship
Dodger-
hat right here.
Yeah.
Not, not
there.
too many people can pick those up.
I guess I'd have to do that. But anyways, let's get into this because I've seen this is evil. They're ruining baseball. This is ridiculous. Let it be known that there is no salary cap and any owner can do this. This is available to anyone. And although and the deferred payments, that's also BS. Anyone can defer payments. It's been done. Bobby Bonilla still getting paid.
Still getting
mean,
paid.
Yeah. So the fact
Soto
that
will still be getting paid
Oh
at the
my
end of
God.
his too.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla and Soto will be still getting paid for so long. I think Bobby Bonilla is like a couple years off from Soto's contract of getting
Get
paid.
out of here.
I think
That's
that's what I
crazy.
saw of like both guys will still be getting paid up to a certain point where Soto is still playing. If Soto stopped playing like tomorrow, him and Bobby Bonilla's contracts are still like going strong for a while.
So let's get into that a little bit. This is what I've heard about the deferred payments. So when you are 2 years away from your deferred payment, that money has to go into escrow. So it's not like Dodgers are just, putting the bill and putting it off. They have to put that money into escrow and it sits there. What the Dodgers have done and what I've heard they've done is that because the Guggenheim Group, obviously a very wealthy management group and philanthropists, I mean, ton of money, they've figured out to put this deferred money to work for them, earning interest. So, obviously I get it if you're an MLB fan, but don't say it's ruining baseball. And don't tell me that this is a lock. Ryan, we have seen this over and over again. Yankees, I heard a stat, the last 8 years in baseball, I think only once has the highest payroll won. We've seen 14, 12, 6, 3 as far as and baseball is different. You could
The
stack
Mets
the
had a
team.
higher payroll than the Dodgers this past year.
Thank you. I think the Dodgers were third or
Yeah,
fourth.
they were like third or fourth, something like that. But like that's the crazy thing is like everybody's like, this is a lock. Like, let's be serious. As Dodger fans, we've gone into seasons and said, look at our bullpen, look at our pitching, and then we get a month in and most of our guys are hurt. Like the amount of injuries that the Dodgers have had to incur over the years is ridiculous. This is literally them saying, okay, we want to make sure that we still have our strongest arms in October. If our offense is already good enough, we have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do out on the field. And I mean, them signing the thing is that they're signing a bunch of pitchers, guys. Like they're it's not like they're going out. It's not like they went out after Soto, who's a hitter. They didn't go after any big time hitters. They went after pitching. It's what they needed. And I mean, let's be serious. They had to throw bullpen games to win the title last year. Throwing bullpen games in October because they didn't have the pitchers to start games. So they're throwing bullpen games and they won some of them. So what does that say about your franchise if the Dodgers are throwing bullpen games and they're winning these games against your starting pitchers who are going 6 or 7 innings and you guys are not able to put any runs on the board against the bullpen? Like, it's nothing but laziness. Is truly nothing but laziness because they're not breaking any rules. If you're honestly tired of the Dodgers signing pitchers, then get aggressive in the offseason and sign them your damn selves. But the Dodgers are going after them, and it's smart. It's nothing but smart management.
Andrew Friedman is just he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Roki Sasaki just signed. He had his press conference right now. I didn't know how, I don't know if you guys saw it, but he was at the crypto.com arena at the Laker game, and he was standing next to Rui Hachimura. I was like, whoa, he's not as small.
Huge. He's
6'3", 6'4". I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either until today when I saw the press conference and he was standing. I mean, obviously, like normal, professional athletes standing next to like the front office, they're always going to look huge. But I was like, I honestly did not think that this guy was that tall. Like
I didn't either.
He's 6'4", 200.
Yeah,
6'4", 200.
When you see like the highlights of him pitching, he does not look like he's 6'4".
He does
basically the same height and weight as Ohtani. He just only has like 5 pounds less.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So I just heard an interview, and obviously, the having Shohei and Yamamoto, everyone thought this could either be, and Andrew Friedman said this could be the key to signing him, or this could be a deterrent. Like he doesn't want to. He wants to expand and go outside of that realm of the Dodgers. But I heard an interview today and they asked him about, I guess he went to dinner with Shohei and Yamamoto, and they asked him, did they recruit you? What'd they tell you? And he said, honestly, he goes, we didn't talk about any baseball. It was just my friends and we had a good time. They never pitched the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was actually brilliant, because it made him feel like, wait,
it's the smartest. It's the smartest way to go about it, honestly. Like if I'm being recruited somewhere, and I mean, this, right? Like when you're going through the recruiting process of anything, the last thing you truly want to talk about is the job. You want to know about like, what's the team like? What's the culture like? Am I joining a bunch of assholes, or am I joining a bunch of people that want to go out and win and it's not a me type thing, right? Like, so, and not for nothing, they've played together before. So he knew that being on these guys aren't going to want to be on a team if it's not a cohesive unit. He saw what Ohtani went through when he was with the Angels. Ohtani's not going to do that a second time. So the recruitment is the best when you're just sitting, hanging around with your boys and you're like, I want to go play with the guys that I'm comfortable with. Right. And it being a strong team. I mean, the piece of the puzzle that I loved was how the Dodgers traded away. I can't remember who they traded away, but they traded away someone so that they could get another international player in order to sign him. That was like the thing where everybody's like, oh wait, this is a thing. Because I had no idea that there was some like international player cap, right? I didn't know about that. So them saying, we're going to move on from this guy and bring in, this pitcher here, like that was incredible. Like, because like I said, a bunch of people didn't know that was even a thing. And for them to be that strategic and move on from him to bring in another really strong pitching arm, just great. That's just great management.
One of the
and I would say
smartest-
that, and I would say that no matter who the team is, even though it is the Dodgers, it's
For
great
sure.
management when you're going out and you're getting the players that you need to win another championship. It's just great management.
No, for sure. One of the smartest businessmen that I've been around told me something. And he was a recruiter of business, and he recruited young talent into his business. And I asked him some advice. I said, well, what about the competition over here? He's like, and he told me, he's like, Eddie, when you're trying to recruit someone, you know, whether you're at Ohio State or if you're at Michigan, Penn State, you never want to bring up the competition. When you walk into the Rolls Royce dealer, that he's selling you that car. Never once does he talk shit about Porsche, or Mercedes. Like, we're the best here. This is Rolls Royce. This is the top of the top. I don't need to talk about, the Dodgers didn't need to talk. Don't go there. Don't go here. This is what we have. They just talk, this is what we are. Right now, the Dodgers are the Rolls Royce of the Major League Baseball. And kudos. Sorry, haters. I mean, there's nothing. Go and clone Andrew Friedman, I guess.
I'm not sorry. I love seeing Padres tears all over social media. It's amazing. Love it.
It is great.
I love it.
It is great. It's so good. So let's move on from You Are Fired. What are we going to get into, Eddie Money? What do we got on the docket today?
First up on the docket, we can recap the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Totally forgot who they demolished.
Demolished.
I just said that because I was watching the game at work and my manager was mad. She was a Notre Dame fan and she was mad the whole day. And I went in there wearing my Ohio State beanie.
Oh man, yeah. So congratulations, Buckeyes. You guys did it. You guys definitely were a fabulous team. Like I said earlier, losing to Michigan sort of galvanized that team. I don't know who tried to stick that flag. And I forgot who it was, but that was a bad move. It seemed like it really lit the flame that really made that team take off. We all knew the talent was there, right? We all knew.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't ever a talent issue. It was just them living up to expectations. And congratulations. Still, I'll tell you this, Marcus Freeman, I said it a couple weeks ago, was never really impressed. Now I apologize. He has created that culture at Notre Dame, and he has done some very special things. I think he's a special coach. I hope he stays, because even though
he signed an extension, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right. He just signed an extension. I love the fact that, Notre Dame didn't have the big names but they played like a cohesive unit, and they played with the purpose. And listen, how close was it now to them, making it a game, Eddie Money? It was pretty.
It was a game. It was a game late. Early, it certainly. Yeah. I mean,
late.
I mean, full disclosure, I'm kind of biased in this regard, because I'm friends with Marcus Freeman's brother. So I do have that. So I am friends with Marcus Freeman's brother. He's somebody that I used to work out with here in Austin, Texas, before he moved back to Ohio. So I am biased in that regard, but I was really impressed by their, 9-minute and 45-second 18 play drive to start the game. But it was like, we're going to have to get Riley Leonard and IV to make it in the second drive.
Yes.
Right? Like, I think it was working too well for them to, kind of concede and say, maybe we don't go down the field and score. I mean, obviously you want to go down the field and score, but to do that and to have your quarterback completely exhausted to the point where he's having to dig deep that quickly into the game, not something you truly want. But it is a double-edged sword, right? You want to score and you want to put points on the board, and you want to do that by any means necessary, but exhausting your quarterback that quickly probably not the best look. But no, I think they made it a game late. And I hate when people are like, oh, the team got bored. They were up this and they're like, stop it. Guys, listen. As a competitor, you don't get bored of kicking somebody's ass. It doesn't happen. It never happens. And if you do, you should get out of the sport. You should like you shouldn't be an athlete. It does not happen. People don't get bored because you're up by, however many points. What happened was they started to make adjustments and started to get back into the game, which is exactly what happens and exactly how it should happen. So I do not think that I do not think that Ohio State was bored at all. I honestly think they got nervous and they which definitely happens when you get up in a game where you don't think that you're supposed to. You're like, wait, this is way too easy, right? I can't believe everything is clicking right now. And then the other team makes adjustments. So no, I don't think that they got bored or they were like, oh, we're up too much, or we're up so much that we can relax now. No, you don't relax, especially in a national championship. It just does not happen. So, but no, I thought it was a good game late. I love the fact that they made it more of a game later. But no, I mean, like I said, I wanted to see Marcus Freeman win, but he has definitely come a very long way as a coach. When I met his brother, Marcus was the assistant coach, I think at like Cincinnati. I think it was like the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati before going over to Notre Dame. And he has really created a culture there, and you can see it, right? Like you can see it. I mean, the former coach that decided to say you can't win a title at Notre Dame or you can't do big things at Notre Dame looks like an absolute idiot because the last 2 years he lost to Florida State back-to-back years, and then this year looked like shit. They beat, what was it? Who did they lose to? USC, I think, this past year, and then USC wasn't really anything. So just you really got to figure it out. Stop creating your fake little Louisiana accent and focus on focus on your offense and not so much putting air conditioning in the LSU helmets for summer camp.
Man, Brian Kelly, really, it's great because when you're at Notre Dame, it is special. It is a culture. You do have to be academically at a different level. They don't, it's a very, very special place. And for Brian Kelly to see, like, I can't win here. You didn't win with Malik Neighbors and the receiver with the Jaguars, Thomas Jr. I mean, look at those two dudes. I mean, they were incredible this year.
You had the Heisman Trophy winner and you didn't win.
Yes. I forgot about him too.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels went on to win the freaking Heisman Trophy and you didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah. So kudos to him.
But,
go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking in that game, it is kind of crazy that the best player on the field was a freshman. Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. And people are saying, where would Jeremiah Smith go in this draft if he was eligible?
Top 5.
I dare.
Would you put him over T-Mac from Arizona?
Yeah, maybe, honestly. Like look at the plays he made. I mean, when the game is on the line, you have a freshman that is running the go route to lock things down, right? Like, and he was the best player on the field. So I think you do, like, you put him in that top 5. You just do. He was amazing, especially late in the season when you needed him, because if he would have had that type of game against Michigan, the whole Michigan thing's it's not a thing. They blow them out of the water. But like, he stepped up when he needed to. They started to go to him at the perfect time. Like, just different. The dude is just different. And I put him top 5, honestly.
Ryan, I'll tell you, well, I would put him top 3. I think he's a bigger, stronger Malik Neighbors. He reminds me of a lot of Neighbors. But what really, if you think about this, we talked about how this game got close. He only had one target in that second half.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did good shutting him down, though.
And that, that was that amazing, incredible play late in the game that sort of sealed the deal. But I've said this about Chip Kelly. you really had to rely on your weapons. And I don't know whether it's Ryan Day who clinches up in tight moments, or it's Chip Kelly who clinches up in tight moments. But you got to give that dude. I don't care. He's sort of like a Malik Neighbors or or Jamar Chase. You throw that ball if it's one-on-one coverage, even if it's I would even say Devontae Adams. You throw the ball up and you let those kind of players make a play. And more times than not, they make the play. That's what makes them so special. That game, I really think, I would put him above T-Mac. I've seen T-Mac and Eddie Money has as well come up through high school. And T-Mac, and people don't know this, started at safety, obviously, and had some of the best interceptions I've ever seen a defensive back play. I'm telling you, T-Mac could play both ways. He could be a Travis Hunter, but he's a very special athlete. But I mean, think about it. Jeremiah Smith is just a freshman. I mean,
yeah,
as Jordan would say, the ceiling is the roof with, with
I think,
Smith.
Looking at the draft order, he probably does go top 3. He either goes to the Browns or the Giants. And I know both those teams need quarterbacks, but as I said before, I think, and we'll talk about it later, those guys are getting quarterbacks in free agency. They're not getting quarterbacks. If they do get quarterbacks in the draft, those guys aren't starting. But I think he would go top 3, honestly.
Last thing I want to talk about before we move on from Jeremiah Smith. What does this young man deserve? I think
most of the 20 million that they spent last year.
If I recall, right now, he is top 4 in NIL money. I think Archie's number 1, and Jeremiah Smith is top 4. Now, if I'm Alabama, if I'm I don't know, Michigan, this is the wild west now, Ryan. You can connect with a agent. This man should go get as much money as he deserves. Is there a chance for someone to poach a Jeremiah? He's a freshman. Obviously, he's gone. Wait, you have to be out of high school 3 years? Did he redshirt? Or
you gotta be a junior.
You got to be a junior. You got to play. Yeah, you got to play at least a couple of years before you can go to the NFL. It's like,
you gotta play.
So does he have 2 more years? Is he a true freshman?
Yeah, he's a true freshman.
Because in the interview after, he goes like, "Let me get 3 more," and then he corrected himself. "Let me get 2 more." So
yeah. It's between him and what's his name, Williams at Bama. That
Ryan Williams.
Yeah,
Ryan Williams at Bama that were just like phenomenal. I mean, Ryan Williams was 17. Like he reclassified in order to get into the NCAA this year. So like, I don't, and that's the crazy thing is the things that Ryan Williams did. I'm almost inclined to say like I would possibly take him first, honestly, just because like look at his year. Like he was phenomenal. No one was even talking about dude from Ohio. No one was talking about Jeremiah Smith. Like it just wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? So Ryan Williams was lighting it up, and the catches that he had and the plays that he was making, I think that he would probably have a better draft grade. But they're 1A and 1B. Like it's tough to pick. But yeah, I would see those guys both going top 5, if not top 3.
Is it a possibility? Are we going to see this now? I mean, if I'm him, I think he's getting $4 million a year. Obviously, he's hot right now. He's a hot commodity. Do you think schools say, "Hey, I'll give you 6"? Is that going to be a thing now in NIL? Are guys going to go after stars?
I mean, they already are. They already are big time. I mean, they're going after guys that aren't stars. I mean, look at the thing that happened with Wisconsin, right? That wide receiver that was like, I want to go into the transfer portal, and they didn't add him to the transfer portal, so he just unenrolled and re-enrolled at Miami. So like they're going after everyone. There really isn't a guy that isn't getting some sort of offers. I mean, if the rumors are true, Quinn Ewers, it was rumored that he was going to get like $8 million if he would have stayed in the NCAA, but he decided he wants to go to the draft. So like, and I have some pretty good ideas why he wanted to go into the draft as well. But like, it was rumored that he was getting offered $8 million, but like they're going after everyone. But I don't see him leaving Ohio State. Honestly, you just won a national title. You're a focal point in that offense where they're going to want to build around you. You've got chemistry with your quarterback who is coming back as well. And then, on top of that, you got to think like Ohio State is big business now, especially with them winning. So there's this whole rev share that's coming in next year, if they get it right. I mean, the case still isn't settled yet, but there's this whole rev share thing that's coming in where he has the wherewithal to stay and stick around, negotiate a better NIL deal. I'm sure that they're going to negotiate something better for him to get more money as well. So like, yeah, he's not going anywhere. I don't think that obviously everybody has a price, but I think with what they just did, there's too many factors against him leaving that I think he stays at Ohio State. I don't really see anybody coming in with a number that says, hey, we'll give you this and get you to transfer. So I just don't see it happening.
Ryan, CJ asked he asked a good question. He said Congress is about to pass the revenue sharing antitrust law, so now teams will eventually have salaries to pay.
Yeah, but so we're actually going to talk about this next week on Athletes to Athletes podcast. So the DOJ actually came in, I believe it was on like January 19th or something like that, literally before, we got a new president, and they kind of came in and were like, yeah, you can't do this essentially, because they took like Texas A&M's budget, and Texas A&M, what they want to do, which is fair, they want to essentially pay the sports that are bringing in the most money, right? So the cream of the crop goes to football and then basketball. And then, it's kind of it's a tiered system. But like with Title IX, you got to remember, it's not the NBA and the WNBA where LeBron makes this much money and Asia Wilson makes this much money. It's the NCAA where it's got to be some sort of equal playing field, because all of them are your student athletes. So right now it's held up. There's not going to be like a salary cap or anything. I would love for there to be a salary cap, because it would certainly change things, because right now the scales are tipped in whoever's favor of whoever has the deepest pockets. But it's going to be very different, and they're going to have to shift, and the revenue sharing portion of all these things is going to have to essentially subsidize the other sports that don't make as much money. So football makes the most. If basketball is number 2, they have to make sure that it's kind of a trickle down effect to these other sports when it comes to rev share of, okay, well, maybe we can do percentages or something like that, because it's not looking good right now. I have to do a lot more research on all this stuff, because like I said, we're going to be talking about it next week. But I know there is a halt on this because of Title IX and how you have to have kind of an equal playing field for men's and women's sports, because like I said, it's not professional where they can do whatever the hell they want. It's college. So that's the biggest difference.
So before we move off of college football, the narrative, we've seen Shane Gillis come out.
Yeah,
and
Shane Gillis.
Call out Nick Saban right on national TV. This is sort of the narrative that, hey, the SEC is not the big bad SEC anymore. Why? Because now any school could pay their athletes above the table. I'm curious, you two and CJ, I know you're out there, and Rafa, if Rafa's out there, are we seeing the domination of the SEC fall by the wayside? Is this a real thing? And now that Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, these big programs, I would say USC, it doesn't make any sense why USC isn't good, because they have a ton of money. But is this leveling out the playing field? And do you agree with the narrative that the SEC was only dominant in this last 15, 20 years because they were paying athletes under the table? I'm curious, and I want to ask you guys about that.
I think they were. I'm very hesitant to say that there's been a torch pass, though, right? Like 2 years doesn't equal 13. Like I'm a Florida State fan, so obviously I'm gonna look at the other conferences, whatever else. But the SEC won 13 titles, right? Like it's a little bit different when they're winning 13 as opposed to the Big Ten winning the last two. And they won the last two under two completely different formats too. There was 4 teams, then there was 12 teams. So it just was completely different of how they went about the playoffs the last 2 years. However, I will say that now that I think there's more equal opportunity. And that's the best thing about the NCAA right now is now you do have these schools that have deeper pockets and they can level that playing field and say, listen, it's not, you don't just have to go to Bama to win a title. You don't just have to go to an SEC school to win a title. You can come here to Oregon. You can come here to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State was in the mix, obviously. Texas, right? Like there are these teams. I mean, obviously Texas is in the SEC now, but like before they were not. And they were honestly kind of a better team last year, to be honest. But there's these teams that, like I said, you can go to these different teams and win. And, you know, that is what I think is now people are now seeing, and the coaching is getting better and the development is getting better. And you have these guys who were former players that are now investing in these colleges as well, like Dion or Eddie George. You know, I mean, I know Eddie George is at an HBCU. He's not at like the top cream of the crop programs, but all of these former NFL athletes are now coaches too. So development is getting better, as well as being able to pay these athletes, which I think is also, it is leveling the playing field. But I'm still very hesitant to say like the SEC isn't the top dog anymore, when you still do have, you know, you've got a lot of ground to make up still in that area.
Fair enough. Eddie Money, you got an opinion on that?
I think Ryan kind of nailed it head on with, it's just more even now, and you're seeing talent being dispersed around the country more, and you're just seeing better matchups within those teams. Like, and also the conferences are more stacked a little bit. Like Big Ten is more stacked than it was. SEC has a little bit more, but it's the main thing is the talent. CJ says, "Bye, motherfuckers to the SEC."
It is in the intro. It is in the intro.
Yes. But as a Big Ten fan, I'm glad to see, in my opinion, the Big Ten taking over now, which I think will happen. CJ said the SEC paid players for years under the table. Welcome to a level playing field.
You know what, though? I can I say this? I asked you guys a question. Can I call bullshit? They were all playing players. SC was playing players.
They just had deeper pockets.
Yes. Back in the day, Eric Dickerson and I forget his name, SMU. Listen, Fred Taylor's talked about it. Everyone, was getting paid, and
guys, the envelope's full of money. USC got killed for it. They got killed for it because they were blatant. It's the same thing with like with SMU. SMU was blatant, right? Like you have Eric Dickerson riding around in the latest car that was out at that point.
A Trans Am,
right?
a gold Trans Am.
Gold Trans Am, like that. They were blatant. USC, you had Snoop Dogg on the sidelines. Like obviously, I mean, think about what Miami was doing. Miami used to have a ton of guys. Uncle Luke was around, right? Go watch that Miami 30 for 30. Those guys, like it was different, right? That's why those teams were getting in trouble. Bama was like, we're just good old boys, and that's why people want to come here. And like, come on, you think Nick Saban was truly leaving a professional team to go to Bama? Like, just stop. Like these guys were always getting paid. They were always there. They had a system. That system doesn't exist anymore. Now they have to figure out how to compete on a different level, because not for nothing, I don't think Bama had the deepest pockets at that point. But like when you make it so that everyone can do it, you show who truly has the ace in the hole, right? You see who does have the biggest checkbook. And that's what's being shown right now, is who has the biggest checkbook. And it's not Bama. And they used to, because they had a system. system is flawed now. Now you really got to compete with the big boys and really pony up on these checks and these alumni. I mean, think about it. Is anybody messing with Nike money? Like you might have a Nike check on your jersey, but you don't have Nike checks in your bank account the same way Oregon does. Like there's a big difference.
Facts. And there's nothing like a billionaire alum. And listen, this has been going on forever. You want to feel like everyone. First of all, everyone wants to be a winner, right? That's why there's Yankee fans. That's why there's Laker fans. That's why everyone wants to be associated with a winner. And when you have 9 zeros, 8 zeros in your bank account, you feel a part of that program, and you need a tax write-off anyways. So I get it. So that was the last question I had. I think we've covered everything on college football, have we not, guys?
Yeah, sir. Moving into the NFL, the biggest news of the week is that Ben Johnson officially went to the Bears, as announced
The Bears
Monday morning, and my dreams were shot. Do the Bears do you think it made sense of him going to the Bears?
You want to take that first, Ryan?
If you look at the quarterback situation, yes, it made perfect sense. Because even though Tom Brady was a huge factor of why he was looking at the Raiders. But
the only factor.
Yes. But the Raiders don't have a quarterback. And are they going to get one in this year's draft? Probably not the one he wants to work with. Probably not a promising one. He would probably rather work with a guy that has 1 year of experience and work with a rookie. And he can look at what Caleb's skill set is and say, I can protect you with my play calling, and I can make sure that we have other players around you so that the scheme protects you as well. The scheme didn't protect him this year. That's where the flaw was. They had terrible coaching. Ben Johnson's play calling allows for a scheme to protect you. And once you saw, it's tough to compete with really good linebacker play, which is what you saw from the Commanders. But I think it makes sense when you look at the players that they have. The Raiders, you got a really cool stadium. You're in a really cool city. You got a championship minority owner. Awesome. That's all cool, well and good. But none of those things win championships for you. It was about the players, and it was about the scheme that he felt he could implement as an offensive mind that he is. So I think it makes sense, honestly.
So, when it first came out, a week and a half ago, Eddie, I was texting in the group chat, this is a pipe dream. Him going to the Raiders is a pipe dream. That makes no sense. And then I heard the momentum, and I heard, maybe he wants his own GM. Maybe he will have the patience to build a roster like the Detroit Lions did. But the more I thought about it, and the more time he had to think about it, I really felt that it was going to fall through, and it did. I am shocked that he stayed in division. Think about that division now. That is better than. If they become a player, you have, Jordan Love, you have the Vikings, a very, very good team. Obviously, the Detroit Lions. That division is going to be insane. That's why I was sort of shocked. I was also sort of shocked because I wasn't sure how he felt about Caleb Williams. And I really hope Caleb takes on just responsibility and of all his actions when he's on the sideline. I've said this, Caleb, one of the most talented guys. He has that talent of a Patrick Mahomes, but I've always questioned his leadership and his mindset. When that's what I loved about Drake May. You have to be that even keeled leader as a quarterback in the NFL. And I feel like he's always shown his emotions too much. But, for me, it makes a lot of sense. that offense is they need to improve that. That defense has already been good. You need to improve that offensive line, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see the Bears and with him under control over there. Can I say this about delusional Raider fans? Because and I had to call him out
because you are one.
No. I am the voice of reason. I am the voice of reason. Raider fans hate me. I mean,
I feel like me and Eddie are pretty level-headed.
I think the fans need to go back a couple of shows and see some of the delusional Raider shit that Eddie has said about getting different coaches and players. So he may be level-headed. Maybe I'll give him half the time. But he's got a delusional heart sometimes.
Eddie still has it in there. Definitely.
I'm not saying I have no hope. I'm always hoping. I'm always pushing narratives. I still believe that life is a big circle, and we're just have a large. We're like Talladega. Our track.
Our radius is fucking huge, or what?
It's just very, very large, and we haven't come back around yet to 1983. So, after Detroit gets just mollywopped by Jaden Daniels and Redskins, these Raider influencers are coming out. Tom Brady knew it. Tom Brady dodged a bullet with Ben Johnson after those play calls, the trick play. Like, Raider fans are trying to spin that we didn't get Ben Johnson because they got their ass whipped by. It's like, come on, guys.
Whatever gets you through the tears at night.
Yeah, I guess. But let's move on. I mean, what do the Raiders do now, Mr. Holmes?
Yeah, who's even left?
Well, I mean, as far as candidates, Pete Carroll, you had Ron Rivera, who's already interviewed. There's talk of now going to get Cliff Kingsbury, out of Washington.
No way.
Why wouldn't he for a head coaching job? Why wouldn't he?
Because the same reason that Tampa's OC decided to pull his name out of the running for the Jaguars job today, because he has an offense that he likes working with. That's exactly. I mean, not for nothing, they also did pony up on the money, but he has an offense that he likes working with that he can build on. That's why Kingsbury is like, wait a second, you want me to leave? It's the same argument I just had about Ben Johnson. You want me to leave to truly rebuild and potentially start losing and have to build a different rookie quarterback when I have the magic one right now doing craziest shit that he's doing? Kingsbury ain't going anywhere.
Wow.
You're most likely, I mean, it could be a Gruden return, honestly, or it can be Pete Carroll. I think those are the two, to be completely honest. And if you ask me, your better choice is Pete Carroll.
Oh, man,
so damn old.
He is.
Bill Belichick, same age as Bill Belichick. Who else? 73. Here's, let's revert back to a week and a half ago when Deion Sanders allowed his, whatever team leak that he would be interested in coaching the Las Vegas Raiders. Can we now not go back and revisit that? And I've been up and down on this. It gives me the goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God, Deion's bringing the circus to Las Vegas. And Rafa has his very strong opinion, which I don't 100% agree on Deion Sanders not being a good coach. He says he's a great recruiter. I don't think he's a great recruiter. I think he's a great leader of men. I think he's a great mentor to young men. And you know what? Tony Dungy was a great mentor to young men. If you hire the right offensive coordinator and you hire the right defensive coordinator, all you have to do as a head coach is make sure you're prepared situationally, make sure that you can manage a NFL game, which we've seen across the board is very difficult, We've seen the best struggle at that. But Deion's not calling plays. He's defensively or offensively. But I'll tell you what Deion can do. He can give you a direction, and he could, bring a vibe and accountability. Deion don't put up with weak shit. Deion doesn't put up with, he talks about how he practiced. Practice was everything to Deion Sanders, and the intensity in practice was everything to Deion Sanders. Can you guys see Deion Sanders now making it back into the mix with the Las Vegas Raiders? I think it's a better option than Pete Carroll.
It's tough for me to trust the things that Deion says. And I love him. He's the reason he's the reason I was a defensive back. He's the reason my first ever football number was 21. I am a Deion fan. His picture is literally up here right behind me. It's tough for me to trust what he says on this topic, because years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, they asked him if he was ever going to coach in the NFL. He said he never wanted to coach grown men. Said that. He's like, I would never want to go to the NFL. That transition to, the latest was he wants to coach his sons, both of them. Mm-hmm. Then it transitioned to that if Jerry offered the job in Dallas, that he would take it, right? Like the goalposts have moved and things are shifting like crazy, right? Like there is so it's insane. So like I won't believe, I can't believe shit until shit happens when it comes to Deion coaching in the NFL. And like I said, I love him. I don't care where he coaches. I'm a Deion fan through and through. It doesn't make a difference to me where he's at. I just think that it's tough for me to just be like, okay, this is the best choice until it truly happens. But if you're, about his relationship with Tom Brady and you know how close they are. My thing is does Deion truly want to coach in the NFL? Because like I said, all the different things that he has said about coaching in the NFL and where he wants to be and not for nothing, it's not a guarantee that he coaches his son, right? And he's never had to coach a quarterback that isn't his son. It's never happened.
For me,
literally never happened.
That's the thing. I don't mind, like, there's not many that coaching spots available right now. Don't mind if Deion comes, but then Deion is going to need his kid. And he's going to secure his kid by getting the number 1 draft spot. And that takes a lot to get there.
Hold on. Shedeur Sanders is not he's not even the favorite to be picked number 1.
Yeah,
the rumors are
if Deion is the coach, he's getting number 1. I don't see him getting number 2.
They'll make moves.
Yeah. And I think that just costs a lot of stock for the team. And then if that doesn't hit, we're set back again.
And here's the thing is at 6, they still have the chance to get him too.
Yes.
Realistically, yes.
They still have a chance to get him at 6.
Because the 2 favorites for number 1 pick is Cam Ward, who is now minus 200, and Travis Hunter, who's now plus at 140, who was plus 1,400 this morning.
But you guys didn't answer my question. Can you see him as a successful coach in the NFL?
Sure.
Whether he wants to be or not, do you think, you think he can coach in the NFL?
If Chip Kelly can coach in the NFL, I think Deion can.
Yeah, what's his name from the Chargers? We've seen a bunch of inadequate coaches. I'm just saying. So you're saying at this point, losing out on Ben Johnson, as much as I love Pete Carroll, what think about his lifespan. He doesn't have the time to rebuild a roster, which the Raiders need a roster, just a complete reset. And I love Pete. He has the energy of a 30-year-old, but is he really be coaching at 78 years old?
if Belichick can keep up with a 24-year-old and coach college kids, I think he can probably figure it out.
Woo!
You know,
Good point.
he's
Touche.
got the experience to do it. But no, I think I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain of like, who are the college coaches, right? Who are the college coaches that they could potentially go get if the NFL talent pool isn't wide enough, right? And I mean, the Eric Bieniemy hype died down pretty quickly. Who knows
Very
where he's? I don't know where he's even at. I mean, I know
he's not
decided
at
to
UCLA
step
anymore.
down. Yeah, he decided
Yeah.
to step down. So like, we'll certainly
Rafa
see
says
kind of
There's
where he
none.
goes.
There's no college coaches. They're all ass-tastic.
Kirby Smart in Vegas. Come on, Rafa. I will say this. There's a long road ahead of anyone who coaches Las Vegas. Tom Brady, I believe, will make, and they just hired Spytech today. I think he's a good choice for GM. I would.
Did they go get Saban though? Do you think?
Oh my God,
That's the one that I'm like, he's on the bench right now. He has a contract with ESPN. He's not coaching. He left college football because he was tired of, college kids being worried about their pockets. In the NFL, he doesn't have to worry about that. There's a GM, there's multiple people, there's multiple layers of people that have to, he can literally just go out there and be like, he can do the same shit that he did in college where he's like, I'm going to worry about the guys that want to be out here on the field playing. I can't do anything about the guys that are in contract negotiations. I don't control any of that. That's not my job. I'm here to coach. He can literally go back to just being a coach. In the NFL, he can do that because there's the infrastructure of people handling these contracts. Where in college, it's still the wild, wild west, man. Like all of these things, you're part of recruiting. You are part of that entire recruiting process as a college coach. You're not part of recruiting. I mean, you're part of it a little bit in with trades and things like that, or with free agency. But like, let's be serious. He can be a true coach in the NFL. It wouldn't be the first time he was there, and maybe this time he could do it better because the game itself has slightly caught up in the college level where it mimics pros a little bit more because the game is being dumbed down more.
Mm-hmm.
Not
For
my
sure.
words. Those are the words of the
Rafa's
owner of
words.
the Raiders.
Rafa's words.
Listen, Tom Brady said it too. Like Tom Brady
Brady
said it. The game's being dumbed down, and he could probably run his offense the way he would want to run it in the NFL and have success.
Ooh.
So maybe Saban
Ryan,
is the guy.
You have me up here, Ryan. You stop talking.
Gold! You had me at hello, Ryan. You had me at hello. Nick Saban to the Raiders, baby.
It's either that or he continues to hang out with Pat McAfee and possibly Shane Gillis throwing darts at him during game day and crying Kirk Herbstreit.
Yes, you're above that, Nick. You are above that. I love it. I love it. So last thing before we leave the Raiders, and you mentioned it, Ryan. My buddies on another Raider group chat, I have a buddy who said, why not John Gruden, like you said? And I immediately responded, I feel like John Gruden is now a caricature, like he's a Disney character. He's expected to entertain and be boisterous and make, his stories are great.
He's a Barstool guy now.
He's a Barstool, and it's gold. But I seen like last week, they're paying him to sit on the couch with, these guys that are just degenerates, and he has to be like,
he's like, I will be an assistant coach. Get me the hell out of here. I will be an assistant coach at the college level if you just get me out of Barstool right now. That check ain't big enough.
So I give my argument that he's Mickey Mouse and this and that. And he said, Eddie, first of all, he loves football more than anyone I probably have ever seen or met in my life. And he eats, breathes, shits football. So you don't have to worry about, and the getting up at 4 a.m. He is all in. He loves the Raiders. loves the Raiders.
He loved being there.
He loved being there. Where do you guys stand? And I said, you know what? His name is Hose. I'm like, Hose, you sold me. Everything you said is correct. Maybe he should get the job. Maybe he should. I feel like it's gonna be like everyone's gonna laugh at us if we do it, but I don't know. Where do you guys stand on Gruden?
I wouldn't mind him coming back. I would probably be ecstatic if he came back, but he's not coming back because he's the only person that got fired in those emails. Like it was only him for a reason.
That was brutal. That was
that's true.
Goodell doesn't want him as in like he doesn't want him.
Yes,
and that's the whole reason.
And he's suing the shit. I mean,
he almost won.
Is it
right?
Is it settled? I
Is it
think
still going?
Have they settled with the Gruden?
I mean,
I don't know if it's
NFL thing?
settled, but the last time I heard was that it was looking to a settlement because he was getting real close to for everything going public.
Yeah, I mean, let's be serious. So if Brian Flores can still be a coach after what with his lawsuit, Gruden can probably still be a coach too.
Good point.
I think the only thing is like Gruden was talking about black guys and he's talking about this, he's talking about that, like, and it makes the NFL look like hypocrites, I guess, when it comes to like their end racism in the end zones and the other stuff that they've done, right? Like it makes them look like hypocrites, but like Gruden, let him coach, man. Like, I don't think he's bad for the NFL. There's way worse people that are bad for the NFL. I don't think Gruden was truly one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I know if our group chat got out, Lord knows I'd be fired from my concrete cutting job. People would be picketing in front of Paramount, the city of Paramount, like, get this guy out. He just deserves to be in local 300. So
I said, thank you, and racism, LMAO.
Yeah, I mean, they try to do their part, but like if you really want to do your part when it comes to like racism, so like open your checkbook, guys. Like just go donate, go do stuff like that. Like that message just kind of rings hollow. Like it was too performative. I get it. Yeah, cool gesture, whatever else, but it was a little bit too performative. If they would have done it for one game, cool. Fine. Yeah. We get it. You're trying to take a new stance on things, but even still, like the whole Kaepernick stuff, like it was all just too performative for me when it came to writing stuff in the end zone and all these other messages that they're trying, like,
Rafa has explicitly said exactly what you said, Ryan. If you really want to make a difference, open up the checkbook and go into your community. Mm-hmm. If you really want to make a difference, and you can, by the way. So that was just
if you think about it, right? Like you have your Walter Payton Man of the Year type stuff. You only see, obviously it's for the players, right? But like, how many times do you see like people from the front office in any of those videos? Right? Like you're seeing these guys passing out backpacks or feeding the homeless or donating their time and efforts at things. You don't see Roger Goodell in any of that shit. Like not once. Yeah. So that's my thought.
Rafa says, what did Rafa just say?
He said, and I mean the players just as much as the league.
For sure. So, I know we go on and on about the Raiders, but that's I wouldn't be opposed to Dion. I'll just say that. Go ahead, anyway.
Yeah, but going on to the two conference championship games of the weekend, we got in the NFC, we got the Jaden Daniels-led Redskins going into Philly to play the Jalen Hurts-led Eagles. Eagles are favored by 6 with the over-under 47.5.
What's the weather going to be like, Eddie Money? Obviously, it's in Philly. We saw what Philly looked like last week.
I think they're getting more snow.
Ooh. Okay.
It might be getting more snow. It might be more ugly weather. I'm not sure.
Let me see.
When I talked to my mom earlier in the week, she said that they're expecting more cold weather. Like my hometown's an hour from Philly, so
I was just gonna ask you that. How far?
Yeah, like it's like 45 minutes. Like you drive. I mean, it depends on traffic, right? You drive 30 to an hour, you're in Philly, right? So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with New York. New York is not far from my hometown either. It's like an hour and a half. So I think they're getting more bad weather, I think is what it is, unless that changed.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be. It doesn't say like 100% if it's gonna snow or not, but it's gonna be cold as hell. The high is gonna be 30.
Yeah.
Cold as hell. How about that for
Yeah.
oxymoron?
Oh yeah. Well, who
So-
do you guys see? What do you guys see happening in this game?
It's
Go ahead.
It's
Go ahead.
going to be very, very tough for the Redskins offensive line. It is. That the defensive line of the Eagles is they're big time. They're game wreckers, and we've seen that. You know, they are certainly game wreckers. So it's definitely going to be tough for them to get the offense moving. Slay has the potential of taking away their number one wide receiver. It's the same thing. I mean, when Falcons and Washington played in that, what was it, the final game of the season or second to last game of the season, AJ Terrell played lights out. Slay is going to be doing probably the same thing. I mean, if you
Slay
look at
looks good.
Slay looks very good. The thing is, though, is like no one has a game plan yet for Jaden Daniels, and you can't watch a Lamar Jackson game and say this is how we're going to play Jaden Daniels and put a spy on him, whatever else, because the way that Kingsbury is he's calling a college offense for him. He's calling it just is. It's a college offense. They're running triple option and it's something you could throw off of. So like it's very different for them to go up against these different defenses. You have to go back to a college played offense defense type of skill wise looking at film. It's the line is blocking like pros. The skill positions are playing like college. That's just what it looks like to me. And it's going to be really, really hard. It's hard to slow him down. When he wants to take over a game late, he takes over a game very late, and he has the poise of a vet right now. He's looking very good. I honestly think that in the playoffs, Jaden Daniels is playing the best quarterbacking in of all the teams
league.
in the playoffs. Yeah.
Agree 1,000%. Jaden Daniels right now, and I've seen a lot of rookie quarterbacks. He is at a different level than I've ever seen anyone play. And although I continually look at it, I think Philly has the best roster offensively, defensively. The reason I picked the Rams to cover last week, which is I thought McVay could out scheme and out smart Sirianni. And Saquon, amazing, right? But look at those runs, Ryan and Eddie. Look at those runs. He wasn't even touched. That offensive line for Philly is blocking just incredibly. And the threat of AJ Brown and Devontae, it just keeps everyone on check and everyone balanced. I know Jalen Hurts might have not had the best game, but you still have to account. You saw the touchdown, on the keeper. They just are so diverse offensively. I feel more than the Washington is, and this being in Philly again, oh man, I gotta take the Eagles, even though and I hate the hat backwards with Dan Quinn. Enough already with the hat backwards, Dan Quinn. You are a grown ass man. Put a beanie on. Anything.
He's always done that. He did that in Atlanta. He's always been that guy. Yeah. He's always been that guy. Been that guy. That's just his style.
Rafa said Jaden Daniels was playing the best in the league, and he hopes Redskins win for the story, but the Eagles are too much.
Yeah, they are. They're really good.
I'm right there with him. I actually saw a post on Twitter today that said Jaden Daniels is having the best rookie quarterback season ever.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, no one compares.
It's like I said, I saw him live his freshman year at ASU. We were on a visit, and I was like, who in the hell is this 145-pound kid looking like Michael Vick, and you hear what he's attributing the success to, right? It is
Yeah.
preparation. He does this VR training
Every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, he's in this gamer generation where it's actually helping these young guys. And by the way, I haven't heard any other quarterback at this point. I mean, they should have it for everyone now. If this is what this kid's doing, I mean, everyone should be walking around with that shit.
Yeah, it's very different. I love how he prepares. I mean, he's the first guy they said like in the locker room and in the building at like 4:30 in the morning. He's watching film and then he's loading the things that he just watched on film into the VR. So I mean, it's going to be very tough for the Washington defense. That's going to be the hard thing about it. And you talked about Saquon's like very long runs. It was because they tried to play him like they would Derrick Henry, right? They tried to stack the box. However, they weren't attributing for cutback lanes. So everybody had a lane, and they weren't attributing for everything. That's why there's that one clip where everybody's asking Jalen, what did Saquon say to you before that touchdown? And he's laughing and he's like, yeah, we just kind of knew what was going to happen, because you know how they flow to the ball. And you could see it. And that's why they could see it. And that's why he went untouched, because they could literally see how the play was going to develop with how they knew what the blocking scheme was going to be. So you have to make sure that everything is accounted for. You have to make sure that, your strong safeties are coming up and making things bounce, and that you're tackling correctly. And I played strong safety. That shit is not easy to come up and take on a pulling lineman. Like, you got to make sure that you're right in your technique. And it's serious. It is very serious. So if you don't have anybody if everyone is on the second level, and the second level is getting beat by a lineman that is hitting a block on the line and then coming off and getting to the second level, and there's nobody else that needs to even touch him, he's going to run it down your throat every single time. And that's exactly what happened with the Rams. They thought they could stack the box, but there wasn't enough. There just wasn't enough there for them to stop it.
What's the line? What's the line on this, Eddie Money?
Eagles -6.
Oof. If I'm gonna have to take the points. I love points. I like Eagles to win, but put me down for the Washington Redskins to cover. And Jaden Daniels on a tear. I love the kid. Love the kid. What do you got, Ryan?
I agree with that. I think it is the Eagles game. Jaden Daniels is going to have a phenomenal game. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I hope that it continues into next year, right? Like we saw what happened with CJ Stroud, phenomenal year as a rookie. And then there was a lot of tape on him, and everybody discovered how to cover and how to do this. He does have more of an upside, I feel, because he's a lot more elusive than CJ Stroud. But man, I hope it continues. But yeah, I think that the Skins cover, but this is the Eagles game to win. And if my brother is watching right now, I apologize. He's a Skins fan. But yeah, it is. I think the Eagles do make it to the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Put up Rafa's comment right there, because
he said hat backwards shows a sense of I don't give a fuck about your rules. I do it. I feel like.
You know what? I kind of respect that, Rafa. Because I guarantee you he gets a ton of shit about it, and he doesn't give two shits about this nobody. So
yeah, he's been that guy. Even at like practice, like even during like press, like he never has his hat. Always on backwards, never on straight. Always a backwards hat guy.
What does Rafa feel? Rafa, can you give us your pick on this game?
He said he hopes the Redskins for the story, but the Eagles are too much. So I'm assuming he just thinks the Eagles are going to win. And also, a rookie quarterback has never been to the Super Bowl. So
Big Ben, Dan Marino, was it Dan Marino's second year? Was Big Ben second?
I think Big Ben was like his second, or I think it was both second or third for both of those guys.
Okay.
He is only the sixth rookie quarterback to ever reach a conference championship.
Wow. Impressive. Very, very impressive. And I love the
Rafa said, let's fucking go Skins.
All right, so we've covered that. On to the next game, Eddie Money.
Next game, big game in AFC. The Bills
Oof.
going into Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 2 now with the over-under of 47.5. Who do y'all got?
Chiefs
I'm
win.
I'm too nervous. I'm too nervous, man.
Chiefs
I'm too
win.
nervous. You know, I have my son in North Carolina. He has these teammates, the Louts, and they're the most impressive.
Very large gentleman.
Yes, the dad is the scariest man on the planet.
He is.
The older brother, and they are from Kansas, and they are just the biggest Kansas City Chiefs fans. And they see me and I talk shit, and I send them all the shit I talk, and I'm always afraid that they're just gonna pummel me. And it's only gonna take one of them, not all three. They just one of them, like with one of their arms tied behind their back, because they are very scary individuals. But everyone knows how I feel. Do I think Pat Mahomes is a great quarterback? Top 3, possibly all time. Yes. It doesn't mean that he's not annoying as fuck. It doesn't mean that this thing it doesn't bother me every fucking down. It doesn't mean when his face mask is a centimeter away from his nose, doesn't mean I can't be bothered by him. It doesn't mean that he is not getting preferential treatment all the time.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. So ease up on me. The rest of the country doesn't like the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes as well. For that reason, Josh Allen, please save us. Josh Allen, please save us. Josh, it sucks that they have to go to Kansas City, but Kansas City deserves it. They won home field advantage. Chris Jones, although he looked a little banged up, made it back onto the field. Spags, maybe the best defensive coordinator since we've seen actually Bill Belichick and Nick Saban in the NFL. That's how highly I think of Spags as a defensive coordinator. Just dials up a blitz when he wants. He always gets to the quarterback when he wants. Trent McDuffie, St. John Bosco alum, just unbelievable. This is a great game. This is must watch, and this is, I will be my fingernails will be. I will be bleeding because I cannot see the Kansas City Chiefs even attempt to do what no one's ever done and three-peat in the NFL. We will have to end the show. I won't be able to do it. I will never be able to speak in a microphone again. That's where I stand. Where do you guys stand?
Real quick, Rafa said it's my 2 guys, the whitest quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen and Mahomes. And Mahomes is going to be the greatest sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: no matter who makes it from the AFC to the Super Bowl, they will lose.
Wow.
The NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year.
Wow.
Yes. The NFC is.
Oh no, Buffalo's
no.
the East Coast.
Nope. The NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year. That is my prediction.
You just can't drop that on my front porch and not have an address.
Okay, so you're saying the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl, basically.
That's the thing, right? Like I can honestly see either team, Washington or the Eagles, winning, but I think the Eagles will honestly take that game. I'm telling you right now, I do not see the AFC winning this year. I don't.
I'm just laughing at Rafa because he's typing what? Like
I listen,
question marks, and I can just imagine him.
Yeah, he's at a Cuban level pitch that only Cubans can hear, and dogs.
Listen,
what?
if I turn out to be right, Rafa will go absolutely insane because the SEC didn't win the national championship. and Pat Mahomes doesn't win the Super Bowl. What will he do? What will he, and the Dodgers continue to get stronger? There will be nowhere for Rafa to turn.
Yes,
There will be nowhere for him to turn.
Snow in Miami, fires in Castaic.
I'm trying to go for the trifecta right now. I already have 2 of the 3. He will have nowhere to turn. Nowhere to turn. I'm trying to go 3 for 3 right now. We already have the Dodgers doing their thing, coming off winning a title and getting better. The Big Ten won another title.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
You're right about the quarterback sucking coming out of everybody. That was affirmed.
Told you. I'm telling you right now. The NFC wins the Super Bowl this year. No matter what team makes it. Even if it's Jaden Daniels, the NFC wins the Super Bowl.
I agree.
I mean, how many rabbits?
I'm with Rafa on this, saying if Daniels makes a Super Bowl, he loses by 20.
At this point, you can't say that because he's already broken through barriers and walls that we've never seen. Why limit him at the Super Bowl championship if they win this game? Who have the
Chiefs even beaten by 30 this entire year?
Nobody.
No one.
Like Keith Sweat said.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that ain't gonna happen. No, that's not happening. But yeah, that is my prediction.
Well, Hanley disagrees. He says he thinks the AFC will win for sure.
That's cool. I appreciate it.
I just, how many rabbit's feet does Patrick Mahomes shoved up his ass at this point? There has to be some accountability. There has to be. If karma and India and the Hindu religion is real, okay, there has to be karma. There has to be a price to pay for the doinks off of the goalposts, of the bad pass interference calls in Atlanta, the freaking illegal procedure call with the Raiders. Eventually, the tides have to turn. Now, I've been saying this all year. And the tides still roll with Patty Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I am
Rafa, I'll get you a nice bottle of E&J. How about that? I'll send you a bottom shelf bottle.
Yeah.
You can feel like you're 20. You can feel like you're 17 again.
If you go E&J, you might as well go Night Train or like that. Yeah.
Be a nice plastic bottle.
What Rafa, what is your prediction? Bless us with the guru's prediction on I mean, this is 1993 Troy Aikman and 49ers. I mean, when you think about amazing conference championships, you think about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. This is on that level of Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, shit that will just be etched in stone. This is the shit that you remember where you're sitting, you're at this bar, whatever. These are these types of games, and this is what we're going to get to see. And I'm so excited for it. But yeah, Rafa, I would love to know, where do you stand?
Yeah, what do you want, Rafa? He said he feels like a winner already because his 2 favorite quarterbacks playing. But we want to know who you think's going to win. Which of your favorites is going to beat?
There's no way he's picking against Patty Mahomes. This is not a chance.
No. I have a guy at work. He goes, man, when it comes to playoff time, I never bet against Mahomes. He's like, it's just like Brady. I'll never bet against him.
I mean, it makes sense. Actually, but when Patty Mahomes,
I Chiefs won it.
Last second. Butker
for the win.
Butker in the kitchen.
23-20 is his prediction. Chiefs Bills.
Oh man.
Josh Allen will jump off a balcony if that's the case.
Yeah, if the Bills only scored 23 points or 20 points, then 100% I mean, I guess there has been a couple games where they haven't scored a ton of points, a couple shockers too. But I mean, the thing, if you're looking at quarterback play, it's not even close this year, Ryan. It's not even on the same level. Josh Allen has outperformed Patty Mahomes, and they're on different levels.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a thing. The better quarterback is Josh Allen. I'm sorry. That is
This
a
year,
fact.
yeah.
This year.
And
so
in their previous matchup, Josh Allen only scored 21.
Yeah,
no,
it wasn't,
Mahomes
it wasn't
only
like it was a
scored 21.
blowout.
Flip-flop. It was 30-21, Bills Chiefs.
oh yeah.
I have a question that goes along with these playoff games, because we were talking about weather and is it going to snow and everything else. And I'm sure this is probably going to piss off Rafa when I say this. I feel like playoff games should be played indoors. I'm all for home field advantage. However, if you want the teams to play their best, to truly play their best, take the element away from it. Take the element away. Get rid of that whether it's going to be cold, whether it's going to snow. I'll tell you right now, I played my worst games in the snow. They were horrible. And there are a number of football players that will also tell you they play their worst games in the snow. It's not an advantage. It really isn't. Like it's not like last week when everybody was like, "Oh, it's supposed to snow in Buffalo. That's an advantage against Baltimore." Do you know where Baltimore is? It's cold, guys.
It's freaking
That
cold.
was my
Like,
exact thoughts when people were
It's
saying
cold. Like it's not an advantage. Like, you know, it's an advantage when you have the LA Rams coming and playing in Philadelphia. There's an advantage there. That's like, but everyone's cold though. The true advantage, honestly, is when you have to take a team and put them in the heat. It's harder to play in the heat, honestly, because you have way more. You get way more tired in the heat than you ever do the cold. My thought is that I think that they should be played indoors. And I get it. I understand you've got the teams that are the East Coast teams. They have the snow. They've got this, they've got that, whatever else. I just feel like there should be some sort of, what's he saying? Only advantage is Mahomes. I honestly just think that you should take the element away from it. I hate that the weather is ever truly a factor. I hate it, honestly. And I'm not the first person to say this. Who was it?
My wife.
Who was it?
This weekend.
Old quarterback Kirk was saying it, right?
Or Cousins.
No, not Cousins.
Oh no, Kirk. Rams quarterback.
Yeah. Why am
Kurt
I
Warner.
blanking on his name right now? Kurt Warner. Yeah,
Kurt
Warner was talking about it. How, like, he's played in the snow. The man was from Iowa, but he also played in a dome when he was with the Rams, when they were in St. Louis, and they didn't have to worry about the element. And even guys that he played against were like, we didn't mind going on the road. It wasn't the fans that bother us. You can still call your plays when it's loud. If I have to play in the element, that's the thing that I can't account for. I can account for everything else. I can't account for that. And that's what changes. Both teams obviously have to play in it, but level that playing field, man. Like, take the snow, take the rain, take all that shit away from it. Let them play in and play their best game, because that's what we all want to see. We all want to see them playing the best game that they ever have.
But you know what? Right. I'll be devil's advocate and say Buffalo, Josh Allen. I just saw a clip today of a bunch of Bills fans when they drafted Josh Allen, and they were losing. Pissed. They're like, just not. And they're like, But Buffalo has been strategic in drafting guys that have big arms. So I as much as I get what you're saying, Buffalo has to build a team to win in the cold and in the wind. But I get what you're saying. We're watching the game. My wife just said something. She's like, why wouldn't, Chicago? Why wouldn't Philly? Why wouldn't these places, Buffalo? Why wouldn't they have, domes? Does it she's looking at it just too sensically. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like,
yeah, the cold weather teams they all play outside. It's the dumbest shit.
It's crazy. Except for maybe Detroit.
I thought the I thought the exact same like your thought, Ryan, on that play with Puka where he couldn't get his footing on the deep ball on
Yeah.
the side. I was like that change that play right there. If he catches it and takes it home, that's a game changer. That's a touchdown right
It
there.
completely changes. I want to see these guys playing their best. I want to see them making big plays, and big plays significantly drop when you have the element that you have to worry about, when the weather is a factor.
Agree, Rafa. I mean, listen, Buffalo building a new stadium, they don't want a dome. Chicago want to redo their stadium, they want to keep the elements.
Yeah.
You know, it's I get what you're saying, but you know,
And Rafa, I get the whole Denver Nuggets thing. I understand the whole, playing in Denver thing. Like I said, I interviewed Ryan Clark and he talked about putting his life on the line playing in Denver, right? Like because of, his illness and playing at that elevation. Like it is different in that regard, right? Like it's a little bit different in that regard because that's not something that you can build out of being a factor. You anywhere can have a dome. You can't just change the elevation of a city, right? Like if they have home field advantage and they have a dome, then fine. But like you can continue to play. You can play indoors literally anywhere. Denver being at a higher elevation, that's not something that you can just build and change and fix. It's a lot tougher.
And you know what, Ryan? You said this earlier, and this is a thing. People don't, and if you're a gambler, listen to me here. Okay.
With all due respect, I said with
Right.
all due respect.
Yeah. With all due respect, fuck that guy. Yeah.
Look at the Miami Dolphins home record, and they rebuilt that stadium or reconfigured it like 7-8 years ago. The reason why the Dolphins are so successful is because in their day games, the shade only covers the home side. This is a thing. And if you're a gambler, you know this. I was talking to a couple at a Dodger game. They're looking for seats for the Miami Raiders. And I told them, hey, if you don't know this, sit on or else you will be hammered and you will not want to finish this game. The degrees difference from home and away, in those first, 2 months of the football season is 25 to 30 degrees because they purposely built an overhang where the sun for Miami. And that's why Miami is so great at home to start the season. That's the same thing. Same thing we're talking about, but with heat. So
yeah, heat honestly does make it tougher to play though. Like it's a lot different to play in heat than the cold.
I don't know. Worse. I don't know if it was Zach Thomas or Jason Taylor, but it was a Miami Dolphin. I forget which one it was, but he said he pissed his pants every game, or maybe it was Brian Cox, that he regularly, because they knew what was coming and they hydrated so much. He said he almost pissed. Not almost. He pissed.
Hearing that.
He pissed in his football pants every game.
Yeah,
playing for Miami. That's some insane shit.
Yeah, I think it was you gotta overhydrate in that heat. It's different. It is different playing in the heat, man.
That's crazy.
Going back to the game, where Henley says Taylor Swift's gonna bring the black magic. She's probably stirring it up in the kitchen right now.
You guys hear about
but
Taylor Swift, Caitlin Clark, whatever. Move on.
To wrap up the game though, I think if you were putting money on this game, I would go the under 47.5. I think it's just going to be a really defensive game. It's not going to be like that one playoff game where we saw where they're just going to go back and forth. And if you want a little teaser, you could do a 6-team teaser with Buffalo +8 and Eagles pick 'em.
There you go, Eddie Money. Tease the shit out of it. I think this game comes down to, gentlemen, the reason why Josh Allen has had so much success this year, he hasn't changed. He's been great. They have developed a running game. And I don't know how healthy Chris Jones is, but if they can run the ball with success against the Kansas City Chiefs, then I think Buffalo has a chance to win this game. And I pray they do. I think that what it comes down is to, can Buffalo get 3 to 4 yards on that first down with running the ball. And
Yeah.
for that reason, I'm picking Buffalo because I cannot pick the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. I want Buffalo to win. And Rafa, I agree with that though. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Kelsey is definitely retiring. And I said that like earlier in the year, like he's ready to be done. He is ready for the next phase of his post career. Like
he already has a $30 million or $100 million contract with their podcast already.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the money's already there.
Yeah.
He's going to make more money. You know,
Rafa said it perfectly. For the sake of this podcast, I hopefully the Chiefs don't win, because then he will have a 3P, and it cannot be denied that he is.
Yeah.
What? No. Wait. You can't. Who can't be denied that he's the GOAT?
Anyone.
Okay. How many? No. There's still math involved. I'm sorry.
It's kind of tough though. It's
the hardest championship to get.
It is. It's really hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. Like it is like, man,
no one's done it. No one's done it.
3 in a row versus 7. It's like it's really hard to do. You know, if he does do it, this will be the end of the Mahomes Kelsey connection. He'll have to go to Iowa and get a different tight end.
They're cloning him over there.
They are.
Don't throw me, Rafa. Don't throw me, Rafa.
He wins, he's good. I unfortunately have to agree with this.
I will follow my sword and say no.
But that about wraps up the show.
I do have a question. And I put it into our chat of talking about NFL trades. And I said earlier of why I thought that those wide receivers would go top 3. And it's because I think that the Giants, and I said this before, and Rafa went absolutely apeshit, but it's even more solidified now after the Vikings lost. Sam Darnold is going to the Giants. I'm telling you right now, they don't want a quarterback in the draft. They don't want a guy in the draft. I don't see that happening. And not for nothing, I think the draft is potentially better next year. I think the 2 quarterbacks we just watched the national championship are better than a lot of the guys that are in this year's draft. Honestly, Riley Leonard's got to become a little bit more accurate, but as a runner, I think he's really good. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's NFL style quarterback. I think the comp for Riley Leonard is most likely Josh Allen. If you truly look at him coming out of college, same thing. I honestly think Sam Darnold goes to the Giants, as I said before, and I think Kirk Cousins goes to the Browns, and they trade Cousins and like a 2nd round pick to the Browns for Myles Garrett. That is my thought. And mostly because from what I'm reading, the Browns are going to be very aggressive in trying to get a quarterback before the draft. That is my thought. I don't think that they draft over him like Penix. And even if they did, there's no way that he would have the same kind of pressure because none of these quarterbacks in this draft are even close to the level that any of the quarterbacks that in last year's draft are even at. So even if they did get Cousins in Cleveland, I think they could still draft a Quinn Ewers or a Jackson Dart or something like that and be absolutely fine because those guys, every quarterback in this year's draft needs to develop. Every single one of them needs to develop as opposed to the guys that came out in last year's draft. So I think that trade happens where Kirk Cousins, even though, I mean, Terry Fontenot is like, we're okay with keeping him as our backup quarterback. You're okay. Like he's our guy until he isn't.
Listen,
right? Sounding like a Cowboys fan. How am I sounding like a Cowboys fan?
Rafa, I'm going to carry.
We're just playing fantasy football on Madden now.
Rafa, I'm going to carry your torch, Rafa, on this.
He nearly left last year.
If you are talking about Riley Leonard, which I think he's great. I think he's, Tim Tebow with a slightly better arm. Why wouldn't you go get Jalen Milroe?
Well, Riley Leonard's not in this year's draft yet. Jalen Milroe might be.
No, Are you sure
Jalen
about
Miller's
that?
in this year's draft. I'm pretty sure Riley Leonard comes back next year. The NCAA. I don't think he's going into the draft.
Why did you say Tebow?
Because that's who Riley Leonard is. He's Tim
No.
Tebow.
No,
I'm sorry. That's
Hell
exactly who he is.
he's a better
Riley
passer
Leonard.
than Tebow.
Not in college. Not in college. He might be. I mean, we all know Tebow's, NFL.
I'm agree with
But in
Rafa. He
college,
wishes he could be Tebow.
Sound like a Cowboys fan. I listen. My sentence didn't start with "this is our year," so I don't think that I'm anywhere close to being a Cowboys fan. I'm saying this because I've been reading things about how the Browns are going to be aggressive when it comes to getting a quarterback through trade, and if that's the case, they would most likely be fine with biting that bullet and taking Kirk Cousins. Or maybe they do get Sam Darnold, but I'm telling you right now, Sam Darnold is going to be going somewhere. I think it's the Giants. I think that's where Sam Darnold is going to end up going.
Rafa said,
Sticking with it.
Rafa said Sam Darnold's awful. If the Giants take him, I will make a year of talking shit about them for 365 days.
Well, then you better get that list ready, my friend, because it's about to happen.
Ryan, listen.
For $40 million.
You said this before, so I know this is not a new take for you. You called this about a month ago. If I'm Sam Darnold, I want no part of Manhattan, New Jersey. I will never. I don't. Those lights are too bright. They're too bright in New York for Sam. And although I don't agree with Rafa, Rafa thinks he's basically just the worst quarterback that ever lived. But
he's not.
It's either that or he becomes a Raider.
Well,
that's the other side. Is that he becomes a Raider.
I keep hearing that, and I don't know how I feel about that. But that is just not what I want to hear from you, right?
Third scenario.
Rafa said LMAO Raiders.
Third scenario is that the Giants do take Shador. Shador sits for a year behind whoever, or maybe he starts, but it's not a good year. They get rid of their coach because he was on thin ice this year. So I think they give him one more year, and Dion goes to the Giants next year. That's the other thing that I was thinking, is that Shador does get drafted. He goes 3 to the Giants. Dion comes in after a year, and they bring the team back together.
Yeah.
He said Browns aren't going to give up Miles. It's like he's the heart and soul of that team. It'd like be if the Raiders were trading Crosby.
But I think Miles out.
Browns are rebuilding, man. Browns are getting rid of they're going to be getting rid of things, man. They're going to be.
I feel like Miles Garrett has been around for 3 different rebuilds.
And Miles at this point, and I feel sort of this way about Max Crosby, I think they've deserved better. Miles Garrett, to me, seems like a very good human being. He's given everything he has to the franchise. And if Miles Garrett goes up into that office and says, guys, hook me up here, man. I've given you everything. Can you please find the best deal out there? I feel that that's where Miles is, and I feel that's where Max Crosby is at this point in their career. And you could be a dick. You could say no. You're under contract. But I just feel like that's where those two are in their careers. I think you're right. I think Miles wants out. He wants out, and I don't blame him.
Rafa said Miles Garrett's a god. Have you seen him without a shirt on?
Yeah, man, that's Rafa's man crush for sure.
That's most definitely Rafa's man crush.
Did we just enter Rafa's wet dreams? Is that what just happened?
Yes.
Oh yeah. He also said if Sam Darnold goes anywhere to a team that's not named the Titans, I will shit on that team for a year.
You're gonna shit on any team that takes him.
Yeah, I don't think that you don't need the incentive whatsoever. You don't need the incentive. But no, I it's not wishful thinking. I've been reading different things about how aggressive the Browns are going to be. I mean, Deshaun Watson just re-injured. He just retore his Achilles. He's not coming back. What are you going to do for a quarterback? They don't want Jameis to be their quarterback. They tried it.
Not DTR.
They don't. Yeah, right. They don't want him. It's either that or who knows? Maybe they go get Hendon Hooker. Who knows? Maybe
I've been
they
saying
take
that.
him.
I've been
maybe
saying
they
I
take
would
him.
love Hendon to the Raiders. I've been saying that for over a year. Like
He's a project though.
at this point, he's either an NFL quarterback or he's not. What more studying can he do behind Jared Goff?
Rafa said Deshaun Watson needs the massage.
Yeah.
Sounds like you want a Myles Garrett massage there, Rafa. Cam Ward for the Browns. I told you, Cam Ward's not a starter next year. He's a backup.
Yeah.
He's a backup for at least a year or two.
But yeah, any team that's looking to rebuild next year is definitely. He said he's in for the Myles Garrett massage.
Are we
Wrapping it up, yeah.
You got to go, Eddie Money.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Rafa, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan, where can the people find you? Handles and all that.
Every social media handle, Mr._our homes on Twitter, on Instagram. That's where you're gonna find me. Athletes to Athletes podcast, the Intermat Wrestling podcast, both are on YouTube. Athletes to Athletes is also on Spotify, Apple, basically wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you can find Two Nobodies is where you can find me. So hit me up wherever, shoot me any sort of messages. You can come talk shit on Rafa. I won't tell him. But yeah, I'm all in.
Listen,
Rafa wants you to come back on next week.
Let's do it.
Will you be available next week?
Yeah,
Ryan?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Hell yes. I just want to say thank you to Eddie Money, to CJ. I always appreciate Ryan for making time for us. I always feel blessed that he would just bless us with his presence and his knowledge. He's always great in the show. People love his takes. And it's even better when Rafa's here because it's great. You think
because it's fun to prove Rafa wrong. I can't wait for the NFC to win the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be magnificent.
With that being said, we want to thank everyone who participated in the show. Will Hanley, yes, everyone who just chimed in. We appreciate you guys. On to episode 120. Everyone stay safe out there. We might go live this weekend. I don't know. I just feel like I've been itching to talk shit. So if we could put you on call, Ryan, we might do something on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know, but
shoot me a text. I'll let you know if I'm home. We can fire up the mic at any point.
Yes, Eddie Money. Thank you for your service, guys. We love you. Be safe. If you're in California, especially be safe. And thanks for everything. Any last words, Ryan?
Appreciate you fellas as always. Can't wait to do it again next week.
Eddie Money.
Enjoy some great football this weekend. That's all I gotta say.
There you go, man. All right, guys.
See you.
See ya.